What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sports Dép Podcast. Alfieri, Tsalikis, what's going on?
Going well, Joey. I would imagine for yourself and the national program in Italy. The slightest sigh of relief. One more to go before you punch your big ticket. So quite the Thursday in athletics there.
Yeah, I saw a good chunk of that game. Shout out to Tele Latino.
Nice.
Played well. They obviously, they were able to get two. They were able to get two in the second half. I thought it was going to be Wales. I mean, Wales that was up 1-0, and then Bosnia and Herzegovina tied it up late. I didn't even realize that Dzeko was still playing. To be honest with you, I had to look it up. He's 40 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they end up winning in penalties. So it's going to be Italy traveling to Bosnia and Herzegovina. I mean, it's why is it two nations against one? Why can't it be like Italy? Italy and Brazil. Italy, Brazil against Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, you got to figure that one out, though.
I believe, though, Tsalikis. I believe. I'm maybe setting myself up for heartbreak here with the national team, but I believe.
Now, listen, you have to. If it ever happens, Toronto and Canada, Italy. I would imagine for the Italian community in this country, I can't think of a more, other than Italy, playing and winning in Euros, but on our soil, in our backyard, It's going to be absolute madness, man.
I'm just going to tell you, I'm usually a person that lives like moment by moment. But June the 12th, should Italy go through, it would be June the 12th at 3:00, Italy against Canada, and then at 7 p.m., Montreal Alouettes have their home opener. So I would be living the dream. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to go. But I wouldn't pay. I would love to see the Italian national team play live, but I'm not spending that kind of money. I already did the exercise, Simon. Brother and I did the exercise. Last time I checked, you're looking at like $5,000 a piece to get into the building. And it's just that's not happening.
I'll take my wife and take a 1 week all inclusive, and watch the game on the loop if I have to,
depending on where you go.
Yeah.
Anyways, I cannot go anyway because I'm not going to miss an Alouettes home opener.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean that day's shaping up to be pretty crazy. But we'll talk. We'll have an opportunity to talk about it next week. So Italy, Bosnia, Herzegovina, if that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Winner goes on to the World Cup. So we'll be able to talk about that next week, and we'll be able to talk a little bit. That's on Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon here.
Yes.
But we'll be able to talk about it next week. Greece qualified?
Yeah, they're already in Toronto. They're already there setting up. I think they're using a U of T campus for their practice facility or something like that. Yeah.
There's a really good the one of the main hotels downtown. There's a lot, but one of the main hotels is the Westin Harbor Castle or something like that. It's right on the water, downtown Toronto, and then but literally right next to it is this small shack, Greek place that serves souvlaki. It's actually pretty good. Serves some nice pitas or whatever. It was decent the time I had it.
Yeah. All right. Let me know.
So check huge Toronto community, a huge Greek community out there, man.
There is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Montreal Canadiens with a big win on Thursday night, Simon, against another team that had been playing very well, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They simply do not lose anymore. Well, they lost on Thursday night at the Bell Center against the Montreal Canadiens. Again, every time I know that I should be rooting for high scoring, high flying. I think I've seen it enough for this year, but when the Canadiens can lock it down, and get a 2-1 win. And I mean, it came close. It came close at the end. Who was it? Marchman at the end that I'm not even sure how he missed that. I know Jake Evans was in the neighborhood there, but the puck just tripped through Dolbish.
That flashbacks to Devin Taye's inability to push it by an open net while Hellebuck was just there staring at him.
Yeah, but Hellebuck made the save, though.
Yeah. Still open cage, puck lying there, push it forward is all they had to do. So, yeah, that's what I got. Yeah. Look, Joey, it wasn't too long ago that the worry with this team was that, when push comes to shove, can they close out a 2-1 hockey game? Can they win a 3-1 hockey game? Or was this a team that's going to, be very efficient on a power play that's hovering just in and around 25%, where they're going to lean on the arguably one of the best, most prolific top lines in hockey? Worrying about their goaltending, Matheson, Dobson, and Hudson pushing offense. Let's go 5-3 hockey games, 4-4 hockey games heading into overtime. And then Habs would get you on 3-on-3. I think these are massive wins, man. I think this is a grinding game, and to win a score line 2-1 is something that I thought that this team would struggle with, and I didn't think I'd see these results. And they've been in some pretty low scoring results of late. And it's great because, a month ago when we were doing this podcast, we're talking about how bad they were collectively and defensively. And now they've seemed to figure those things out. They're not great, but, closing out a 2-win hockey game against a team like that, job well done.
Yeah, and how can you not feel really good? Well, I want to get to Dobeš. We talked about low-scoring games, and, we've talked about goaltending ad nauseum. We'll talk about Dobeš in a second because he's been really good. But I'm not going to lie, I felt good for Zach Bolduc. It had been a while. I didn't even realize how long it had been. For some reason, I thought he had one in the new year. He did not. The last goal, December 23rd, 2025, Simon. He had as many goals as you and I did up until tonight in 2026. But he had the big goal, and it ended up being the game winner, 31-game drought that he finally puts to bed. And I feel like he's been a little more engaged, even physically. He took out Damon Severson tonight. It wasn't a massive hit, but he leaned on him in the third period, or he went shoulder to shoulder with him, and Severson had to go back to the locker room. So, he's throwing his weight around. You find a big goal in a crucial moment. Overall, it's a good feeling. And I just hope that he can continue stacking game after game after game, because he's one of those guys, it might be a top 9 forward, it might be a third line guy, but a third line guy that could chip in at a 20-goal pace, which I think he can do, that's a big time addition for the Montreal Canadiens, because he wasn't giving them that.
Yeah, the play today was exactly why they made the Logan Mailloux trade. They didn't think, I don't think they envisioned Bolduc playing anywhere on that top 6, at least not this year. But exactly what you're looking for in that third line player. A little bit like Josh Anderson, physical, speed, all those things, chippiness. Just want to see him when sometimes Josh Anderson struggles as well, is in that goal department. And I think Josh Anderson's goal department will be fine at the end of this year. But Bolduc, there's too much skill level. It's too good of a shot. You saw the shot, the game winner against Columbus, man. I'm not going to sit here and give you the old, that's a goal scorer's goal, but that's exactly what that was. So he's been engaged physically. He's moving his feet, and you're hoping that this comes. Because, you look at the Veleno, Danault, and Gallagher, and if it's not that, it might be Texia. I don't know. They're not getting enough from that line, from the goal-scoring department. It's going to get a lot more physical. It's going to get a lot more difficult for that top line, whoever they play in that first round. Demidov, Kapanen, Bolduc, Anderson, those guys on that middle 6 are going to play a vital role for this team to continue the rest of the season, and if they want any postseason success. So getting him off the schneid, as they say, Joey, was massive for Zachary Bolduc yesterday.
Yeah, and right before 7 o'clock, the Canadiens had announced on Thursday night that Texier, is it lower body? Lower body is day-to-day. So they still have depth. I like the way Veleno played. I thought Veleno's brought it physically, and I think he's what he's going to give you. He's an honest player that's gonna that isn't lost in his own end or without the puck. But I thought from a physicality standpoint, he played well as well. And I want to mention it because I can't believe that I need to make sure that I single out and give this player credit. But how about, everyone's going to talk about the Bolduc goal, and rightfully so, but how about the play by Mike Matheson to skate the puck out of his own end? He had a Columbus Blue Jacket player lean on him, was able to fight him off, and then I think got the puck to Jake Evans, who went into the offensive zone, went over the blue line with the puck before dishing it off to Budzik. But that was a big-time play by Matheson, who I thought, again, there were some key moments in the third period. He was out there. He seemed to be out there all the time, but there were some key moments in the third period where Mike Matheson, they leaned on Mike Matheson. The Canadians did too, and he delivered.
Yeah, listen, Joy, I saw, the when it comes to the minutes played against the opposition's top team, I think Mike Matheson is top 5 in the NHL. So I know the turnover in Detroit, it's so glaring. It happens. It was a bad bounce. But the matchups that this guy gets night in and night out, saw another stat earlier today or yesterday about the number of times that he has to start in a defensive zone face-off. He's out there for, against a team that is probably putting out their best scoring line out there. So it's tough minutes, and sometimes mistakes do happen. But I think also you get him outside of your comfort zone when you start playing him 24, 25, and 26 minutes. But that was a good play, man. And that's, Mike Matheson with the best of his abilities, right? Like, he's one of the elite skaters in the NHL, got out of the zone, made a great play, could have had opportunity to maybe dump it or do something, quote unquote, less risky, but he didn't. He got it to Evans, and great transition. And that's what the Canadians are supposed to do, right? Like, you're not an overly physical team. You know that, you saw the Columbus Blue Jackets put a target on 48 in the Thursday night game. Like, he was a target. They were finishing their checks. There was even a little brouhaha in front of the Columbus Blue Jackets bench. This is who they are. They're not an overly physical team, but
this is what everybody's going to do. I'll tell you right now. You get to the playoffs, 48.
You got to make
48's going to have 48's going to be circled on the drawing board every night.
And you got to play to your strengths. And Mike Matheson, at that point, elite skater, played to their strengths. This is who they are. They want to play with pace and they want to skate. If you're a team that happens to combine a little bit of physicality with that, Buffalo might give him some headaches and stuff like that. Even this Columbus team, if they were to ever meet him, it seems like a kind of team that would be a tough out for the Canadians. But no, great play by Matheson.
So just quickly looking at what ended up happening in and around the NHL last night. So the Canadians get 2 points, Columbus get none. That's massive. The Pittsburgh Penguins get a 4-3 shootout win over Ottawa, so that's a 3-point game.
That's good. Ottawa,
Montreal making up a point on Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
And the Seattle Kraken get a 4-3 overtime win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, so Montreal makes up 1 point on Tampa Bay as well. So those are big results. I know both those teams end up coming away with a point, but the Canadians end up coming away with 2, and they make up for they end up making up a little bit of ground on Tampa, and they pull a point further away from the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, it's a great night. Listen, the 3-point games are going to happen. Going into that game, the Senators got to give them credit, though, man. Absolutely banged up, running out of bodies out there. They're still getting the points at home. I believe that game was at home. It was in Ottawa, so probably hoping for 2, but the fact that they can sneak a point out of there as well. Tampa Bay, the refusal to lose, but look, a point when you pick up 2, it's a good night when it comes to the out-of-town scoreboard, because there's been nights when the out-of-town scoreboard has been absolutely brutal to the Canadians. So big win yesterday, man. In Columbus too. You never know if the Sens continue to get hot, if the Red Wings get hot, the Bruins get hot, and somehow they bounce the Canadians out of a wild card spot, then the Columbus Blue Jackets become a problem as well. So getting the 2 points yesterday was absolutely massive.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I know we haven't really. I mean, we've touched on goaltending a lot. I know that we were both skeptical as to whether or not Jakub Dobeš, if the Canes go into the playoffs with Jakub Dobeš, what would it look like? But this is a totally different goaltender, Simon. This is a guy, and he's 24, I think. He's fairly new to pro hockey. Pardon me?
He's a rookie.
He's a rookie, fairly new to pro hockey, in terms of games played. There's not really a ton there. And so, there were consistency issues. He's not really talking to the media anymore, but he's clearly locked in. And I like it. I like the confidence. He came out, was named the second star. People chanting Dobeš, and he was, he was
trying to hype up the crowd.
He was trying to hype up the crowd. Which I don't know did you catch the Italy game, by the way? Because I thought that was an interesting moment. There was
I watched it to 1-0.
Moise Keane took a shot from inside the box that their keeper turned aside, knocked it out of play, and you saw Gennaro Gattuso, your boy, former coach in the
Okay.
Greek league. He went to the home crowd and was also pumping them up.
I did see that. I did see that. Yes.
And then they end up scoring the 1-0 goal right after that. But not to get too far off track, but I like the calmness that he's playing with. He got run over by Boone Jenner at one point and just shook it off. Wasn't happy about it, but shook it off and locked in and kept the Canadians in front. And I mean, right now, I think I told you less than a month ago, I said, hey, I think Jacob Fowler is going to be the goalie for the Montreal Canadiens game 1 of the playoffs. Give the other guy credit because the other guy's playing really, really well. And I think you got it. Listen, you have a back-to-back, Simon, on coming up on the weekend. But he's going to play one of those games. But if there wasn't a back-to-back and it was just Saturday night, I think you have to go back to Dobish.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has nothing to do with Fowler's development, man. He's still practicing with an NHL club. And I can't think because you're going to sit on a Saturday night and you would have been playing in Laval against the Hershey Bears, your development is going to be so far ahead of the game because you're playing that 60-minute game against the American Hockey League affiliate. It's over. Like, Fowler's going to get his starts. There's, I believe, Joey, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I think it's back to back on Saturdays and Sundays for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So he's going to get his starts. He's going to be in and around the big club. He's going to work firsthand with his goalie coach. It's not like his goalie coach will have to travel to Laval to have sessions with him. And again, he's practicing with an NHL squad. Right now, points are too big to come by. Dobish is playing well. Joe, who was it? The Islanders game Carolina. Hey, man, the 2 terrible starts. Carolina game could have been 3-4-0.
Yeah.
This game could have been 2-3-0.
Yeah.
The big breakaway save as well. He is playing at a high level, and this is what the world that they're living in right now. It's find me the hot goalie, and I'll play him. And if that hotness starts and stops in 10 days from now, then I got to find another guy, right? There's no job security here. You're just simply going to go with the hot goalie, and right now he's playing well.
Yeah. The Canadians start on a 5-game road trip, Simon, starting with the next game. So they're in Nashville on Saturday, in Carolina on Sunday, in Tampa Bay on Tuesday, which is enormous. They're at MSG on Thursday, and then they have a home-and-home with the New Jersey Devils on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday in the Meadowlands and Sunday back at home. Then they enjoy that's the first of 4 straight games at home. And then they play, you're right, they play Saturday, Sunday the rest of the way. They've got New Jersey next week. Well, this weekend is going to be, we mentioned Nashville, Carolina. Next weekend is Jersey. And then the weekend after that is Columbus at home at the Bell Center and New York Islanders on the Sunday. So
he'll get a start now.
So you'll get a start a week.
Until you reset again, Dobish gets the net when it's not back-to-back. It's not hard to figure this one out.
Yeah. All right, Tsalikis, behave yourself and lay off Italy, man. Don't
What are you talking about? I had my Francesco Totti Roma jersey on throughout the game.
Do you have one of those?
No.
You don't have one of those? It's funny. I was just reading one of those AI posts this morning on I don't know why it popped up, but Francesco Totti played. I think he played the 2006, and he was banged up. You could tell if you remember in 2006. I know he led Italy in assists in the World Cup, but he was clearly not right. And I read this the other day. He played with 13 screws in his foot.
That's nuts.
I think he ended up playing was it a fractured tibia or fibula? Anyways, he snapped something in his leg. In half, and I think 100 days after that, he was able to come back and play. I think it happened in February, and I think in May he was back on the field, and then in June he ended up playing.
What did they do? What happened in 2006? Did they win?
Yes, they won the World Cup. Yeah.
And sorry.
He played the World Cup final.
Yes, against France. Okay, was it against France?
Right? 13 screws in his foot.
That was the one penalties against France.
The one that they won in penalties against France, yeah.
He took a penalty in that game? I don't think so.
He did not take a penalty in that game. He had a penalty in the quarterfinal game against Australia where Italy were down to 10 men, and it was right before extra time.
Yes.
Like they were going to go to extra time, and
Yes, I remember that. No, I only bring that up because I didn't know the screw story, but I'm wondering, one of the greatest Italian players ever, and there's a reason probably why he couldn't take a penalty.
He took it. He took it in the Australia one. I think he got subbed off in that game.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
I don't think he was there when it came to. Obviously not. Now I'm thinking about it with the injury. There's no way that he would have been able to play the 120 minutes plus penalties. So he definitely came out. But they went 5 for 5 penalties in that.
Was that Grosso?
That was the one. That was the Fabio Grosso tournament. He was the one. He was the player who was brought down against Australia in the quarterfinal in the box, which was not a penalty, but they gave it to Italy anyway, and Totti scored. Yeah. He had the big goal, the 1-0 goal in added time, in extra time, in the second half of extra time against Germany in the semifinal, which was the game winner.
He had
scored the 5th goal in the penalties.
He scored which one in the Italy-Germany game was arguably one of the greatest soccer matches.
He scored the first goal in that game. He scored at 100 and I forget 112 or 18 or I forget how many minutes, but he scored the 1-0 goal, and then he scored the 5th and final penalty, the game-winning penalty, the World Cup clinching penalty.
Well done,
left-footed strike was a thing of beauty. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Tsalikis.
Good times.
Be good. This has been the Sports Dép Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, and leave us a positive comment. And you can also find us on Apple Podcast and Spotify if you're into the audio versions only. Tsalikis, be good. To anybody watching this very early Friday morning, Tsalikis, you're hosting the morning show 6 to 10 on TSN 690, correct?
Yes, sir. Going straight to bed.
All right, go to bed. We'll talk again next week, but the busy weekend coming up for the Montreal Canadiens with games on Saturday and Sunday. Keep it locked into the Sports Dép Podcast for all your Habs information.